So they built themselves. In my VR game, there's a simulation for VR that the agents can use. And yeah, that's interesting. It's not working that great, honestly, and so many things go completely wrong. Like the particle effects or something, they just don't get it. A lot of things they don't get. It's still super rough, but it's okay. Like,
morning, man.
Yeah, this guy, the difference from a year ago, that Sunday, I think you were working mostly in Sunday. You didn't have Opus 4. I wasn't able to build like to have a little sheet flying in there, and then you have other image approaching like this one. Then you want to have some sort of gravity that you have a tracking missile. Sonnet wasn't able to build anything like that. Opus kind of had it, but I still had to tweak like So when I did it a couple of weeks ago, no.
I mean now, I think the best engine to build, if you only want to code, is Godot.
Yeah.
Like people say, because you have so much access to it. I don't know. Like I'm now, I just have a C++ project, an Unreal Engine, and then
you need everything C#, like you can script the whole thing. But a lot of it, so much of it is by being able to use that IDE, as it uses features in there, and I think it's driving those, like, because MCP access tool, it's same as like clicking mouse button. It's so slow, so clunky, it takes 5 minutes. Reason why it needs to do. So you gotta have like, that's not how you want to do that.
No.
You want to run a script, compile everything. It doesn't have to keep around all that.
But I'm so curious what happens now with like in Unity, like with Unity or Unreal Engine. I think they kind of will stop to develop human interfaces for these engines. It makes sense.
I think so, yeah.
You know, like why would you go deeper now? Even like the blueprint system or something like that. Like, why would you do this if everybody uses agents anyway? You know, so.
Yeah, the UIs are so complicated in those.
You have to really get to know them.
So why did and even for the devs building the tool, like you have to really think about it as it's head.
Exactly.
I think they want. Yeah, you're right. They really don't focus on just engines.
They're gonna focus now on MCPs and all that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, big focus on MCPs. We had the, finally they made MCP stateless?
That was one of the bigger news of the week.
Yeah, exactly, stateless MCP servers, which is APIs, MCP servers. I see people like, why do we have, they're both the same thing. But obviously one's a protocol that just have a standard on what to tell the model. So we use that. It's actually funny how like we've come full circle on the MCP topic, because if we go back a year ago, MCPs were like, get this off of my machine, like these things just consume so much context. And then I feel like I made a mistake, because so then they came out with the tool search, and then they came out with the ability like they hide all the MCP tools because they were expecting, from what I remember, like you would have people with like hundreds of these installed, and like you didn't want to actually remove them. So it turned out that like you wanted to optimize for like, okay, connect as many as you want. It's actually not a problem. But that whole time that they were working on that, like me and I'm sure people here were like, MCPs are dead to me.
It felt like that.
But what happened to the CLI stuff? Then CLI was the new thing, right? A couple of weeks ago. And then what happened? Is it because I didn't really follow it? So what is it now? I mean, there's still a lot of CLIs around, but
I think it's the connectors are because like so the CLIs were token efficient at that time, going backwards, and then today.
Peter,
Yeah,
you have, yes.
You have,
yes.
yes.
And then today it's like we have so Okay, so like one of the issues with the CLIs would be like, if you're gonna go to the cloud, well, then you have to bring the token with you, and that's actually annoying and hard. So, and like, well, why is that annoying and hard? Well, because the Frontier Labs are designing it in a way where it's like, these connectors are basically are global account bound. So, they're saying, use our cloud session, your remote MCP is already connected and authenticated, don't bring your token. Don't deal with the CLI nonsense. Don't worry about the context window stuff, like, you're gonna have that tool search that's gonna get executed by the model. So, so it's like, it's a reversal, right? Last year, fuck MCPs, and now it's like, how many can I get?
Yeah, the token stuff is, because we had like 50,000 tokens, like the context window of 50,000 tokens or something like a year ago. So it actually mattered if you spent 20,000 tokens on half of it on some sort of MCP
We were so
sequencing.
concerned about the dumb zone that it's like anything possible to not load up with 20 or 30,000 token window and do a session.
We got a million tokens, and what do you really care if it's 20,000 or 30,000 or 40,000? It probably matters actually still, but at the end of the day,
Like,
I don't really care. I haven't had a context window problem since the Opus 1 million token upgrade.
Yeah.
I haven't.
They kind of figured that out, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't say fully figured it out, but it's just interesting. I remember like going back a year ago, like how do we save our context window? How do we not load in?
Optimizing like a system problem. Stuff like that. It doesn't matter at all.
Well, and then now the MCP protocol is bringing with it all these other interesting things, right? You have what is it, app UI? So you can now send these sort of elements to be rendered, expecting the client to have some sort of iframe render. And so you can, that was part of, I think that was part of the release. I mean, we'll see when we pull it on screen. Because it was what, it was statelessness, removed, so having now like no longer needing a stateful server, is one of them. And I think the other one was the
No handshakes.
huh?
No handshakes anymore.
Wait, also that's another one too, right?
Yeah.
But nothing fundamentally changed on the security side. It's still exactly the same.
Yeah.
But there was that just new ability to submit these sort of forms over, because I think it falls under like, so MCP, has like elicitation, right? Which I think elicitation is, I need to basically prompt the client and await some answer. And so I think when you so that came out a while ago. I use that. That's like awesome. Like elicitation is awesome. And I think this whole app UI thing is paired with that. I think I'm not sure. And then what's the other interesting thing part of the whole conversation?
I know they actually natively integrated OAuth and OpenID Connect for security.
I mean, this is the new standard, right? Like, it's not something just Anthropic. This is like MCP standard.
Well, they donated it.
Yeah, and their foundation, right?
Yeah.
Or is it now with the Linux Foundation?
Can't remember Linux Foundation or CNCF.
Something like
So
that.
are these new features that have been added to MCP that you're talking about?
I think like the app UI one was a beta for a long time, if I remember. And then the statelessness thing, I don't remember. I remember that was talked about actually a while ago. But I think now it's like just officially part of the. Where can we find the freaking notes on this? And it probably needed this right here, the whole task system. Because if I'm right, that's like what everything is really based on. That you send a task, you get back a task ID, and then that's basically what you're going to listen on.
Yeah.
List results are cacheable, multi-round trip requests. What changed? No handshake or sessions.
Yeah, like you don't have to maintain the connection anymore in MCP server, right?
have a schema yet? Like OpenAI and GraphQL where you can get the types of everything? Is that, because I remember when I looked at it a few months ago, like there was no official schema definitions as like you could find what tools you had, but there wasn't like a formal way of specifying these are the input types, and this is the output type, like you have with an API.
Yeah.
Is that being added now or?
That's what we would put in the tool description, I think,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, you would put the,
But is that like well, I guess I'll just look it up, but like is that an official part of the spec that okay, use JSON schema for the definitions, or is that a per client implementation?
oh, I think it's part of well, the tool description is expected, so it's part of the schema. It should be part of the schema. But it's like a string, I don't know.
But like with OpenAI, with OpenAPI and with GraphQL, it's like here are all the type definitions,
Yeah.
and depending on what language you can use that as part of your compiler and
Yeah.
checks.
Yeah.
And like this is exactly it's a formal description of what it needs to take. And I'm just wondering if that's because that was a huge difference.
Because it wasn't like revealing the schema, like oh, if you're gonna use this
Yeah.
tool call, expect the result to be this shape
Yeah.
and expect the parameters, like it's an int or something like
It's
that.
like natural language seems like a step backwards for that particular.
I think though it is. I mean, it has to be because like if you look at live platform capabilities, that so they rolled this out. So like this isn't being tracked in the ecosystem. If you look at co-work, so co-work artifacts, and then very recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we saw the same update for Claude code artifacts, where they allowed you to embed the MCP tool call directly into JavaScript.
Right.
But like you had to have the MCP connector enabled on the account as well.
Right.
But the only way to like write that function, I think, was well actually no, since JavaScript is not required. Yeah, so maybe not, I actually don't know the answer. I'm trying to reason like think about it, but no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when I woke up and I was thinking, does that mean it's bad? Like,
Just the whole multiplayer.
Because the MCP, the protocol has there's tools and prompts and resources, and I never really figured out what the tools I understand, but the other
Yeah.
ones, like, did
Resource.
anyone actually use that, and what was it meant to be used for?
I've never used resources or prompts.
It
And
was-
also they're kind of annoying to use because you have to like @ symbol, and then you have to know what the resource name is, I believe,
Yeah,
or the prompt name.
I never figured out.
because I didn't really understand.
I had an MCP server that that was all different calls, and I put like all these instructions about how to interact with it in. Well, I expose them as both resources and prompts.
Oh,
And it just because
That's the
I
context, yeah.
I didn't know which one was which.
Yeah.
And it still didn't, like there's a handshake message where it's supposed to be like, here's how you interact with me.
Yeah.
Or it just wasn't picking that up. But this was 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's changed so
It's changed
dramatically.
a lot,
Today. So dramatically. Because I think you like wouldn't want one of those handshake interactions in your MCP anymore.
Right.
And it's supposed to be in now such a way where it's Claude's supposed to be able to infer, or whatever the hardest is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, because it smelled like something that they're supposed to explain how, like examples how to use these tools. Like it gives you a documentation of the, but at this point, you should be able to figure out from the tool description by themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll
Yeah,
explain.
that's the whole
You
thing.
don't have to have all this documentation.
Yeah.
Manual attached to it.
Yeah, well, because the direction changed towards it was, and it's like Project was like, you know what? It turns out we don't want humans involved. So like, how can we get the model more involved? Which is why it's like leaning more on the tool call part. Because like, there's no harness I know of that can invoke by itself the resources or the prompt part of it. The elicitation, yes, and tool call, yes.
With the other ones.
We'll go in a couple of minutes and wait. You know, actually, while we wait, I was thinking of one of the things I wanted to ask is like yesterday I was thinking. So if we go back a year ago, it was like there were constant updates coming out from the labs, which was a really good reason to meet every week, just to try to stay up to date with like. I mean, if you remember, like literally they were releasing 2 or 3 things a week, and it was like at some point sub-agents didn't exist, and all these other concepts didn't exist, so we would go over it every week. But now I think the onslaught of updates has slowed down. It's basically gone. Some of it slowed down. Anthropic has stopped pushing updates to like quad code constantly. They rarely push anything.
It's so weird.
They do it like every day. Cloud code.
Yeah, sorry about feature updates, like big feature updates or new primitives added to the harness. Like we're not seeing that on the same interval we were seeing even months ago. So I'm thinking like, well, that feels like one of the reasons we would meet was to talk about these sort of platform updates. But it's kind of gone out the window, and I'm thinking, I just want to ask the room, like, what is interesting and important that you would want to come here every week to find out? Because I want to start like changing a little bit of the direction of what we talk about.
I was actually thinking about that past couple of weeks because like a year ago, 1.5 years ago, we often talked about like what are we working on, how do we tackle these problems, how do we solve them, like what are your experiences, like what did you discover lately? We haven't done that in a long time.
Maybe we should just do it today, like just go around the room. But if whoever's willing to share, I don't want to pick on people and say you talk, but that's a good point.
And tools, like what are you using at the moment? Like, is there anything interesting that makes your life easier or that saves so much tokens or, I don't know, stuff like that? Observability maybe?
Yeah, true.
Practical stuff, demos, people showing, little insight or tips or tool or
So demos, back to experiential stuff, like trying to get it out. And this was always the hard part. Was like it was hard to make it predictable because I was like, I don't know if I can prepare to ask people questions because maybe no one has answers. but also you're right. Like it should be maybe the way that I was thinking was also wrong. Because there really is a good question here of like what are you guys using? I have no idea. And I'm sure our setups have changed so much. I know when Andrew comes, he starts talking, he's got like his whole world of, it's just different. Like what he does is so different from what I do. I think maybe we can also just start. Yeah, actually, okay, we can start. There's like enough people here, maybe some others will still come in.
We can also bring in like technical discussions that are not necessarily related to like a news item. It's more like in general. For example, something that comes for me is like whether you should read the code that the model generates or not.
Yeah.
We had a discussion about it like in your lecture, and there is this recent tweet by Uncle Bob, which is a very famous author. He wrote Clean Architecture, and it became very viral. It was like, I don't even read the code that my model generates, and this is like the father of clean code. This is like the person that everybody looks up to, like how to write clean, well-architected code, and he says, I'm not even reading the code that the AI generates.
Yeah.
That's an interesting topic, and it's not, it doesn't have to be about news from this week or last week. It just
Good point. Yeah. And even like we can actually find a way to still mix it in too, because for example, so I know he's like a big user of I think Quad, so I think he's an Anthropic guy because he used to use swarms. I think he was really obsessed with when he first started learning. I don't know, he documented it on X. He's like, today I'm waking up and I'm gonna do swarms. but it's a good question because it's like, and we'll do it as a news item and we'll fold it into a question. Like yesterday came out DeepSeek V4 Flash, which has been supposedly unbelievably cheap, but coding with like one of these open source models compared to Claude, like that has to be a drastically different experience. And I can't speak to it because I don't use DeepSeek for coding. I still use Claude. Does anybody in here use any non-frontier model for coding?
I've always found the Chinese stuff to be pretty weak, like Flash, DeepSeek stuff in particular, but I was using it all day yesterday, it's incredible. I mean, I swap models all the time because I use OMI, so
Yeah.
like it has different roles, there's like 9 different roles, and it kind of automatically switches for you. And I just blew my mind all day yesterday. And I mean, dirt cheap.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I don't see a huge difference between it and the US frontier stuff really, but I mean, it's only been a day.
You were using this in Pi? Or
In on my Pi, yeah. So in Pi, yeah. But it has loads of sort of bells and whistles added, so it kind of does a lot of stuff for you automatically.
yeah.
Like orchestrating, and there's an advisor feature where one model is watching the other the whole time and chips in with little tips and stuff to the, the models are talking to each other. And loads of other stuff. But yeah, I mean, it blew me away yesterday. Like it fixed, it improved the speed of an algo that I use for GPU stuff, and I just couldn't believe that it had done it, because I've tried with loads of models.
Oh, wait, so what type of coding, what language are we talking about
C++,
here?
which I don't have a clue about, so don't get me wrong, I'm no expert. But yeah, I mean, it improved the speed of it. But all the models would just go around in circles for hours.
Yeah.
And then the newer stuff would just be like, a cyber security threat, I think, because it's for cracking Bitcoin keys. Like, you know, legitimately, I have one that I wrote down years ago. It's kind of like my white whale that I've been trying to rearrange for years using cheap GPU cloud instances. So yeah, I mean, it seems to have improved it by like 10% the speed, but it did it in like 45 minutes.
Nice. And the cost-wise, that was
like
like
45 cents for like 4 hours of usage, and that was me smashing it.
wow.
Yeah, so it just completely blown me away.
Do you get like so I'm not familiar with this. For those, and this is like an open question, not just to DeepSeek, but to any of the other open models. There's no like effort level knob for DeepSeek, right?
There is
just there is.
Yeah, there's like medium, high, and max, I think.
And that translates to just directly like thinking token expenditure, or is that...
I've used DeepSeek before, and I just always thought it was terrible. So I haven't really used it, you know, with any kind of enthusiasm apart from yesterday. So I'm not really an expert or anything.
Gotcha.
But
That's
yeah,
fine. That's fine.
you can change the reasoning absolutely as of yesterday.
Oh, this is so cool.
One question I have, how did DeepSeek see, because yesterday I made this little fun demo, and DeepSeek is blind, right? So it can't process, the new DeepSeek can't process images.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever Playwright or whatever tried to send an image to DeepSeek, it just said like, yeah, error, it doesn't work. So that's why I'm wondering, because then yesterday I did this little Mortal Kombat, whatever.
Yeah,
it
it's fun.
didn't really work, but whatever.
Yeah.
And my question is, I mean, it started to see when I hooked up DeepSeek Pro, and then it actually worked well together, you know. So I was wondering, how does that work in Pi or something?
Yeah, Pi just has a thing that automatically, if an agent doesn't have vision capabilities, it just throws in a vision agent automatically.
Nice.
So I can't really answer the question, I don't know.
It's
It's also only DeepSeek Flash, so Pro is probably just going to basically be like an atomic bomb, I would imagine.
Right.
So I mean, I think Flash has always been like blind, as you say.
Yeah.
But Pro, I presume, will have
Yeah.
eyes.
Okay.
Well, these numbers are crazy because like this is saying that this version of Flash. I know benchmarking and going by benchmarks isn't always the best.
Yeah.
Or hasn't proven to be useful anytime recently, but still, just looking at it, it's hard to still like. It's easy to just notice, right? Like Pro versus this Flash thing, this new version of DeepSeek Flash is better in all of these particular benchmarks compared to DeepSeek Pro. Or
Yeah, it's a big
Pro.
leapfrog kind of situation.
How many folks in here are like using open source models for aside from like just using it often?
Yeah, I built GLM 5.2 and some apps over the last few days. Just use that as the agent in the app instead of Gemini.
Which harness were you using? Open code?
I use GLM 5.2 from Open Router, and then but I'm doing all the coding in Codex.
Oh, okay. Oh, you have the local, not the local, the other models which are
I'm doing, the coding assistant now, is ChatGPT 5.
Yeah. Oh, interesting, yeah.
The model, but I built GLM 5.2 into the app itself.
Oh, as something that can be consumed on the app side.
Yeah, so it, it's one thing I made was an AI-powered blog thing that scrapes news sources and generates a kind of an AI summary. So GLM 5.2 is doing all AI parsing.
Yeah. And you're finding the GLM experience to be
Pretty awesome.
pretty,
What
yeah.
it generated.
And were you using this for coding too? Coding the thing?
I haven't tried it.
I'm trying for coding. Okay, still okay. And anyone else like using open source models in their? Actually, it doesn't even matter how you use it. Is anyone using it, and in what way? If you are, would love to hear coding or some automation standing over there.
I just use it to get around guardrails with the US frontier models. If there's some sort of, the way they keep saying I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'll just switch to King K3 for that turn, and then just switch back. Like I'll say to King K3, like remove all the negative, like don't do this stuff from all the markdowns, and then switch back to the main model and do a handoff, and then it usually gets around the guardrails. But that's the only thing I use it for, really.
Makes sense. I
I do back testing because I'm a trader. It sometimes just won't back test, and just loads of weird stuff that won't touch. I mean, I'm not trying. Well, I am trying to hack into my native Wi-Fi, but that's a different thing. That's just you expect them to say no to that, but most of them don't. You just need to put in like rules of engagement stuff into the market, and they will seem to think it's okay then.
I'm curious to just pull the. Actually, do you want to?
I'm not doing interesting stuff with OpenClaw or Hermes, but if I just play around with it and do stupid stuff, then it's usually GLM or Kimi models, because I'm not paying API for Opus or Sonnet.
Yeah.
It's just stupid, because what I'm doing with these agent systems is just, I don't know, organize my to-do list for me, remind my wife to do that stuff, send messages, this is my shopping list,
Right.
things like that. And it works great. They're probably overpowered. I could go with a lot cheaper dumper models for this kind of stuff.
But I'm still so curious about, because there's this thing that I don't even know what the term is for. It's like, okay, well, if we're talking about coding, sure, we can understand that. But then there's the office work stuff, which is everything, which to me, I lump in that umbrella. It's like, go in my calendar and add a block for this particular thing. And I feel, I don't know what the open source models offer when it comes to doing that type of work. I don't know, I don't hear anything great about it. The last GPT model, 5.6, there was an AMA that they did where they were like, oh, 5.6 is a step function change in terms of its ability to call connectors and office-like functions for a computer. Now they're saying that because previously it didn't do it. And my understanding was the open source models also didn't do it. The only one that was really good with co-work-like tasks was Claude. Because it could do co-work like tasks, it could do coding tasks. But the open source models, I'm super curious to hear everyone's experience, if anyone has experience on that.
I don't know, but I heard in a podcast, it's a new model called Sumo
AI?
Something, they made it really tiny so it can run on your phone.
Oh.
And they said for this use case, it actually works pretty well. This kind of stuff, what you just said, add something to my calendar, same shit as Gemini would do, but it's, I don't know.
It's like Gemma. There's Gemma from Google, which is also open weights and it runs on Android, and it's for saying really small Gemma stuff.
But if you use the native Gemini integration on your Android phone, that's not local.
Gemma, not Gemini.
But I wanted to say pretty much any Android phone has the Gemini integration now, which I don't know, I turned it off because of shit. So it's interesting that there are other super small open source models that just run on your phone and you have the full control over it. So I guess that could be interesting in cases like that.
Yeah. Well, I compare well with, was it last week? I don't know if anyone saw
Apple released their big update to Siri, which can now, I think, talk to other apps or something like this. And there's a on-device LLM, I think, or room for it. I'm not sure.
I think they do like a hybrid approach, right? Because they build this private cloud AI. I don't know how it's called, but it's like kind of a trusted compute environment. If you use Siri with your Apple Home or with your Mac or whatever, like it kind of does it locally. If that's not enough, it sends it off to a private. It's probably not an instance, but it's something that is like it belongs
thing, right?
to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, but it didn't get any news at all, and I think because
it's kind of smart in a way. I've been talking to someone about it. It's like Apple doesn't shine at the moment in the AI world, but on the other hand, I could see that as a smart move. Like, wait it out, don't spend hundreds of millions of dollars into research.
Yeah.
Just wait until someone cracks it, or until, I don't know, Oracle goes bankrupt soon, and then Oracle, here's $1 million, give me all your data centers, all your patents, all your IP, and then we'll just use that.
Could be, yeah, I'm curious, like, there's always a lot of talk about what is Apple doing and so on. I'm surprised I didn't get the news update from them, because that last week that was a big thing that they did. They had these, and I think they even had a whole thing on their, what is it called? FLM, their framework, the machine learning framework or something. Something like that, yeah. I can't remember the exact name, but they're opening it up in such a way where I think they're almost like anticipating that you'll be able to build and train your own models with Apple hardware, which means, to me it was crazy to hear, because it means it's like, well, you're preparing for something probably 1 or 2 years away. Obviously you can't train anything with Apple hardware today, but to build that in the framework means that you would expect this to come in, to be in the pipeline.
The rumors are that the M7 has no performance improvements in like normal computing, but it's only AI improvement. So maybe
It's like RAM.
instead.
RAM.
Yeah, what was the rumors about, what, 700 gigs of RAM you can throw on the new Mac server or something like that?
I think
Yeah.
Apple's best bet is releasing the hardware and providing the tools to use it, like whatever their machine learning thing is.
So like lean more into the.
Yeah. Because that, I mean, that's what they're good at.
Yeah. I mean, they have like this highly specialized expertise on, especially on the chip side, right? Because they went that whole route of building the M series. That's a really good point. And yeah, they've been, I know, investing quite hard to make their Apple hardware work with LLMs. They have that big push on the MacBooks, for example, that work with LLMs. All right, so DeepSeek happened last night. I guess we'll go ahead and officially start. I never do. These things sort of try to keep it natural and organic going. So news for the week, we're going to try to do a little bit of what we said earlier, like try to entice more discussions and not just purely news of the week. I still want to hear everyone's opinion on the format nonetheless. But okay, so news for the week. Yesterday, DeepSeek Flash. I think we need to wait 7 days to see the response from this. If this changes the markets, like, you know, if there's another DeepSeek moment, I think there already is. If we sort of go on Twitter, I think there's already a lot of chatter about that. But let's see 7 days from today, because this just came out last night. Now, on the platform update side, probably the most interesting, I'm very curious if there's any discussion points on this, is this major price cut that's going on, right? So OpenAI on the 30th released this, so let's read it here. 80% drop for GPT 5.6 Luna and 20% drop for 5.6 Terra. That's a drop on the token price. I have no idea how they've achieved this. I don't think there's even a blog post, but there was some snippets coming out from the OpenAI team or different developers. Basically, supposedly Seoul is involved in basically bringing these hardware efficiency improvements, and I think that's why they're able to achieve this token price cut. And obviously what we don't know is
smoke and mirrors wise, what we don't know is are they just going to spend more money and not tell us and subsidize heavier? But I'm just curious. Anyone have any thoughts?
It's still more expensive than using the planet, right?
It's reduced on the plan as well. Initially it was just going to be an API code. But I think it's just...
They carried it over. Yeah, they said they would carry it over. So any improvements that are coming out of this, sorry, let me put in their wording it was, I don't have it here, but their wording was basically like, so 80% drop for Luna on the token price, you're going to get the same benefit on your plan as well. So your plan, basically, your consumption rate will go down. It will track with these improvements. So
they have a blog post about it. They said it over there.
Oh, okay. Do you know what was the
I can try to find it.
discussion?
I
Do you
had
remember?
a blog post, and their slogan was "Intelligence too cheap to meter" or something like that. So I can try to find it.
It seems to me like they were just trying to head off the DeepSeek drop. They got wind of it. I mean, it's a tinfoil hat thing, but they got wind of the fact that DeepSeek is just going to basically reduce costs to practically zero. And they went, shit, we better do something else. We're going to,
Oh, you think they're getting ahead of that schedule?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it all seemed quite rushed. Not that I follow their communications very closely, but it did seem like it came out of nowhere. And it didn't really make that much sense because everybody was saying it was the best. All the models were absolutely amazing and blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
it seemed unnecessary to me, but I'm not an expert. So.
I mean, it seems like the conversation in the AI space is about the frontier labs being too expensive. In like the most recent 4 or 5 weeks, it's been just nonstop. Frontier labs way too expensive. Ever since the GLM 5.2 thing happened, and then followed by Communicate 3, now followed by DeepSeek, you're seeing these like insane, 90% difference in cost for tokens compared to the frontier labs. So this is a response to
I sent you a WhatsApp.
that.
There's a full blog post of their announcements.
Is it this one, advance the price performance with?
I sent you a WhatsApp, so there is a full article. It's not a tweet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is this one. Okay. So they wrote a blog post on. Did they talk about how they achieved this?
Maybe. I don't think they read the full thing, but they just got excited about the announcement.
How we advance the efficiency frontier. Our efficiency edge comes from improving the models, the inference systems that run them, and the agentic harness that connects them to tools and context. GPT 5.6 models take a more direct path through work. Better routing keeps hardware productive, blah, 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 big list of stuff. Together, these improvements let us complete more useful work. Okay, so hopefully this is it. 5.6 Soul is increasingly help us find and deliver the next round of gains. Within a human-led process, Soul autonomously rewrote and optimized production kernels, designed and ran hundreds of experiments to improve token generation and monitored training, intervening when problems arose. The kernel work helped reduce the end-to-end cost of serving the models by 20%, while its experiments increased token generation efficiency by more than 15%. My brain goes into so many directions here, right? It's like publicly, optic-wise, you want to make a blog post that says this. I'm also super curious about what's happening actually inside the lab. Like, is this tracking? Is it better than this? Is it worse? Are we seeing the average?
Also, where's our 45% price cut?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I have like so many questions in my, I wish I can get some reveal about what's happening. But I think if you're coming out in public and you're saying our big model, our our Mythos class model, right? That's how they're pushing Soul. Our Mythos class model is being used to bring these performance jumps. That sounds like what's coming out from them. So what does that mean, right? Like, there's talk about this sort of recursive learning system, and when that turns on, we're going to start seeing this insane sort of singularity moment? Are we there? There's Sam Altman did an interview, was it this week, I think? Basically saying we're in the singularity. You know, public
they keep
public
saying
stuff.
that word, the singularity, and I think they keep saying that word for 2 years already.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, we see the benefits, obviously we see the benefits, but you know, I mean, the singularity, like that moment where you literally don't get to do anything and, you know, AI starts to improve itself, I think we're not there yet.
Right.
It still depends on our
Maybe we're at the very
physical
beginning.
hardware and GPUs and stuff.
Yeah, well, this could be a sign of like the absolute beginning, right? It's like I have the model, it goes and does its experiments. We saw from Anthropic actually a couple of weeks ago where they talked about how I think it was like 50% of the experiments done in the company was like machine led. Some crazy number. Like it was, I remember there was that post around the time Fable was coming out where they were talking about what number of experiments in the company were, because they were increasingly trying to get AI more involved in the experiments. I'm curious, who in the room is like GPT user, uses GPT work? 1, 2, 3. I'm just curious to hear a little bit more about how that's going for you guys, because I know we want to talk a little bit more about tools you're using and what it's like. Anyone want to share about? Go for it.
I can just share that I'm going to do a demo shortly, and it has like 10 slides, and I let GPT 5.6 Soul create the slides, and it took away like 10% of my weekly quota just to create 10 slides.
Really?
It worked like, I don't know what it was doing, but it was like training nonsense for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, and then I had this slide, it was quite nice, but there was this header malformed or something like that. I mean, I told it, hey, can you fix the header so it will be the same across every slide? And just fixing the header took like another 1 or 2% of my weekly quota. So I mean, I will never use Soul again for, you know, normal stuff like this.
Yeah.
I would definitely give it to a cheaper model.
We never dive deep into like what should you use and why. So I'm just curious. I have things I'll bring up on it, but anyone want to share how do you use the GPT harness?
Yeah.
Well, let's start here. Yeah.
OpenAI, I use it for language. I think is much better in sending really readable texts. So with language is great, with coding is not, and Claude the other way around. Like I'm talking about Hebrew. I don't know about English, but in Hebrew it's like totally limited Claude. So I have a lot of language in my business. So everything that I need to write, even in magnets and stuff,
Yeah.
I set for the like the OpenAI API.
Yeah. Do you trust the ChatGPT basically for language work? Makes sense, Don. Honestly, it's been top tier, going all the way back to like older GPT models. Makes sense. Anyone? Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I built like so this week. I don't know if you guys felt this as well, but a lot of my friends felt this too. That Claude had a real step down again. I mean, also Fable and Opus just became worse. Some people said it's like maybe we get a quantized version now or something. But a lot of my friends, and including me, we are actually shifted a lot of the work to Codex and to ChatGPT. And then one thing that really helped them. For example, I built like an agent room where they can talk, and it's very simple. It's basically just firing hooks after each interaction. Like Claude is firing hooks, and Codex is firing hooks as well, and they're checking on like a shared folder for MVs, or they also have a chat actually. And I mean, I had this working before with Hermes, that they are actually talking directly to each other, and it helped a lot. So, but now, I mean, me and also a lot of my friends, we do more work in Codex this week than we did before. And this is literally the first week that a lot of people have been shifting. And yeah, so it's a little bit weird that Claude is so unstable. And another thing is, at least, so I work on regular coding projects, but also on with Unreal Engine, and Codex is much better with like the MCP if you work with Blender or something like that, and also with Unreal Engine. Yeah, Codex is much more better. Yeah, I mean,
And how, what do you use as harness, and how do you plug everything in? Do you have subscriptions, or do you
I have
use...
subscriptions, and then there's like, I have a local AI kind of dashboard and center, and it has a Kanban board as well, and it has this agent room. And both agents, all my agents have local LLMs running as well. They have access to this jobs board and also the agent room, and they're literally talking there, and they open new threads. And every new session also automatically gets registered in the agent room, so they can actually pick up when they work together or something.
You should do a presentation on this, if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
Sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's quite nice. But and one big thing, I mean, for me also, like I'm working on a ethnic app, is got completely failed on front-end work. So this week, I don't know, like it became super terrible, and I only use tables actually, like a little bit Opus, that's right, but so now Claude definitely does the backend work, and once the backend work is done, it puts a job on the Kanban board and thinks codex to do the front-end wiring, and then it actually, once that's done, Fable is checking one more time that it's going to implement it nicely. And it's okay, it's still token efficient, because when I started this, sometimes the token cost blew up a little bit too much, but now with this system, it's actually quite token efficient, because they are really shared, they don't share the responsibilities anymore, they're clearly divided.
Can you quickly say on the GPT models, model type and effort level?
Yeah, so it's always so, and it's always on high, because very high is too slow. And yeah, I guess I could go lower too, but I mean, I tried the other models, like, as I said, DeepSeek, why should I take Luna? DeepSeek is much better, so I don't know. So, but I'm also not having any issues, and I'm running a lot on the codex plan. It's been great, and that's again the same experience from friends who sometimes have like $200 codex plans, and like I have only one, and I've been using this a lot, and I'm still at like 50% now with like 3 days to go. So I don't see any issues there. Like it's been generous, and that has been the sentiment of my friends as well.
Very good experience here. Yeah.
I've been experimenting with using Codex for reverse engineering of binaries, and I've been
32-bit, 64-bit.
So I've been trying 16-bit. So I've been trying with old PC games, old DOS games, and it's pretty. And C64 as well, but mostly DOS. It's pretty mind blowing what it's able to do. It knows how to run a program in QEMU. DOS, it knows how to look into the debugger facilities, or it either knows or it figures it out. And so I give it a binary file and say reverse engineer this and produce a spec for how the program works. And it'll explain, here's the resource file format, here's the bytecode format that the game uses it for its own custom scripting language, and then I will have it generate a new implementation in Rust.
Whoa.
And then I'll say, well, there's a few differences in it. So run the DOS version and run the new implementation side by side, and it'll capture screenshots every 16 milliseconds or whatever. Compare it. Oh, I see. I didn't get that bytecode instruction. And based on the ability to verify the results of having a new implementation against the original DOS executable. And this is including like self-extracting exits. So if I just look at the file, it has to run it under QEMU and then do a memory dump after the self-extracting process.
Crazy.
There was one case where I was doing a C64 game, and I did have an emulator installed, but it had some problems running it. So it started writing its own 6502 CPU emulator, like instruction by instruction. Run the game for a little while. I don't have that up. So
That's crazy.
So
Wait, so you like wait for it to crash and figure out what?
Yeah.
Like,
and it just
it didn't
keeps
have
iterating through. And then it gets a little bit further. It's past the title screen, it's the game screen, and so yeah, I'm pretty blown away by that.
I'm blown away too. That's crazy. That is such a cool like concept to continue on. And the hardest for basically running because like okay, we'll do this evaluation. Like that's you let GPT make that.
Yep.
That
and as it proceeds, it starts writing all these Python scripts to automate parts of it, so it can work faster. So it will figure out the format for the graphics, the format for the sound, and have a Python tool that decodes that, and then it can use that as sort of like it's building its own tools as it goes along, and producing like a fully complete technical document that has sections and all of these. It reads like a W3C spec.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is fascinating. And then so what? This is Soul, whatever level.
This is Soul extra high.
Extra
or
high.
high and extra high.
High and extra high.
I have done a little bit. I have gone to ultra on a small number of occasions where I'm close, but there's a few bugs that it needs to do a comparison. And it needs up a lot of usage, but there always seems to be a reset and it's the next day. So.
Yeah, that's the other thing to factor in, right? Like you expect people to constantly be resetting and therefore you're a bit more aggressive. But I hear constantly even from the OpenAI team themselves, because I watch some of the videos that come out each week, and like even they say like they don't use Ultra, they don't like max it out. Actually, I was watching some of the more prolific people who are public on YouTube, but they're from the OpenAI team where like they just use Medium. So that's like interesting to hear. I'm very curious to hear everyone's sort of setup on it. Someone else?
I just, if I've got quota, I'll use it. If I'm running low, I won't use it. Because none of this stuff is important. It's not business critical.
Right.
Experiment. So, yeah, it depends how much quota I've got left.
Makes sense. And it's like, you always want to like try to figure out like what can I learn by pushing the limits, right? Without using tons of dollars. Does anyone else want to share their codex or cowork or how are you using things? I'd love to hear or share for the room.
I still continue to use codex Soul High for additional review. So I said before, for language, for normal speaking languages, this model is pretty good than for coding. And for updating documentation or some past text fixes, it can be good. And but the main problem that I found when you ask about review, your code changes. Soul provides like two detailed additional like comments that can change your final your first request that you wanted to get like building your architecture file or like your strategy, and you should like check everything or provide some special prompts. Don't do it so your comments doesn't change like initial implementation or like provide real blocks. And I think that's it from my side. But now I think I started to use Opus. For me this week it works very fast.
Yeah.
So I was using ChatGPT Soul Opus 1 month ago. Opus was working very slow. You waited a lot of time, but it built something. Now I use mostly Opus, and sometimes I use also ChatGPT.
Opus 5.
Opus 5 also I use for review and for coding.
Yeah.
In addition, I use also ChatGPT Soul High fast mode here also, and
fast mode, cool.
Yeah, I try to build together to build final plan and architecture plan and plan of implementation also.
Yeah. I have so many questions from that. I'm not even sure where to start, but I still want and the questions is like also for the room too, because it's funny we hear about this week with the whole Opus. You're using Opus. Opus sucks. Like what's the experience? What are you experiencing? I'm loving Opus 5 by the way. I'm finding it's just amazing.
I'm discombobulated that I feel like it's all just noise. because one person says, oh, it's so good this week, another one says it's such shit this week, and it's like, okay, blah 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 blah. I don't know. I don't have an opinion, but I feel like it's, since this is what we all do, it's something worth like diving into that. Because it would be one thing if there was consensus, right? Then it's then it's easy.
Yeah. So what's happening here? Why is there such a split in the whole? You know, Opus 5 is retarded or Opus 5 is amazing. What's going on?
It's all about the harness.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Was the whole instructions and different tasks and different contexts, and every model has strengths and weaknesses. And I mean, for example, for my use cases, I really hate GPT 5.6 Sol. It was a complete disaster when I tried to use it. I dumped it, but some other people use it with a lot of success, and you know, they have great results. And, it really depends on the use case and what kind of stuff is feed into it. And it's also like you said that, I don't remember who you said it said from the control people about reducing all the instructions and
generalizing your instructions.
To be able to work and not obstruct them with all this a huge amount of instructions that interrupt their work. So it makes a lot of difference as much as one type of model.
Yeah, there's also like supposedly the compute pools that you're in play a huge role. Like if you run benchmarks for like Opus 5, if they run the benchmark and then they run the same benchmark an hour later, it could be a 20% swing. You know, like these 5-hour windows that you're locked in, like there's like some sort of compute constraints. Like if so many people are using a lot of it in the window, it actually makes your session less viable, plus you burn more tokens.
This makes no sense, man.
Yeah,
I'm so curious what the hell is going on.
It's really interesting, but I saw there was a group that did tests like every 5-hour window, and the swing was like 20% for the same benchmark in those windows.
That's an allocation to some cluster that you are intentionally tied to. That's interesting.
You know, because I see this all the time. Like, Claude is so stupid right now. Like Opus is dumb, and at the same time, I'm getting the best work ever out of it. And I've seen people. I've been in the opposite position where like, wow, it's doing really shit right now, but then it's 2 hours later, it's again the best model. So I don't think people, it's because we have like X and whatever, we just go off and blab and say, and it's provocative and stuff like that. But I found most of the time either like ChatGPT is good sometimes and not good sometimes, and Opus is good sometimes and not good sometimes, and Fable and all this stuff. And I really, I don't know the mechanics behind it. I have zero insight into it. I just know that I've seen the benchmarks between 5-hour windows, and the swing is insane. So my assumption is that it has to do with that compute pool for some reason. But I
cut off the rhythm times over, right? And usually everyone's complaining about it on Twitter, and then 3 days later, and probably it's like, oh, we fixed the bug.
No, that does happen for sure. That happens because, Dax from Open Code has said this a lot of times, where like a lot of people really don't understand this, but changing even 4 words inside of a system prompt can screw up other parts of the thing. So every one of these like little updates that happen almost every day, or sometimes multiple times a day from Claude, can actually change the quality of the output. And they're doing it every day. So, and they don't really know until they get, this is part of the reason why all these companies collect all the inference data, right? Because they need to see immediately, and they need to be able to spin it back or make it fix. Because I think I've heard that as little as 4 words in a system prompt being changed or moved, or a sentence removed, can change the quality of the output. So it can create a bug like that, and that's happened obviously quite a few times. I'm sure it happens every day, honestly. Are you using it heavily at the time when they push that update, and then they do a 0.1 update again 4 hours later, and then everything's fine again?
There might be testing an update of 20% too.
Sorry, one at a time here. Go ahead.
Each update also is going to read different prompting styles differently. So if you are a very technical prompter, one model might work perfectly for you, and Opus responds very well to very broad, open-ended prompts. So depending on your prompting style, you might have a model. Two people with two different prompting styles might have the exact opposite results, depending on just which model is reacting better to your natural language style.
About also slow working, it can be like depending on time, like if a lot of people use like at the same time some model, it can be like more slowly, right? Or not, it doesn't like.
I feel it all the time. Work exclusively with Fable these days, and there's one session that I work with Fable, and in the morning it's working perfectly. It's very clever. Maybe it is that 5-hour window change, but come afternoon, it suddenly gets really stupid, silly mistakes, or meetings start ignoring. So,
you think like whatever the reason. So waking up when the Americans were asleep, and you got the rain, they should probably try to use this open source models. Yeah, this is exactly my experience with that. So it's really unstable. I think that's the main problem. It's like, and sometimes I feel like, oh, America wakes up, maybe now it gets more stupid now, and whatever. And I mean, but the problem is the unstableness, because you can't really rely to get good work out of it, or law did things like it tried to do it very good, and then it made it overcomplicated, and then Codex had problems with it again, and it's just so unstable. And it's not like the work was changing, for example, this week or something, it was always the same, and then suddenly you get such a dip, or the model starts to get lazy suddenly, and it doesn't bear anymore, right? And then some other time it's running like good old 4.6 or something, and it's like proactive and all the other things. So I think that's a major issue.
It makes me think about, and I'm sure most people here are at least familiar with the basics of trading. So it's like if you have alerts set up for like when you have an okay setup, it seems like it would be ideal. I kind of doubt this is possible, but I think it's worth thinking about. If you could have some kind of heartbeat that ping models, and then based on the response of the model, each model that you might switch between, you either decide to work or don't work. Because this is like, these tokens are fucking valuable. And if you're wasting them when the thing is stupid, it's like the delta is it's like trading, right? It's like you either get hit and you lose your money, or you actually win money.
But a lottery sort of mechanism.
There has to be. I mean, this is like the new thing, right? I don't know anything about this, but this interpretability stuff that everybody's getting into now, trying to figure out like how the anatomy of how these models actually, like the 4-word thing, right? How they go through latent space and stuff.
Right.
So it would be, I'm sure what I'm describing will exist at some point, where it's either a SaaS or people build their own things where it pings models and says,
well, there's you create a problem, right? If there's
totally,
a
right,
then everyone's jumping
reflexivity,
in.
totally. Well, that's why, so actually on that note, one of the coolest things I saw recently, somebody was talking about like, what's the coolest hack you've done? In this Discord moderator said, I run a server and I was getting like hundreds of bots a day. It's a very popular server. And I figured out a hack that kills all the bots, but I can't tell anyone, because if I disclose it, it's such an easy thing for the bots to patch.
Right.
It's like trading, right? It's like how Renaissance and Citadel, they don't tell anyone like what they do. So that's your alpha, is like which model is good when.
Yeah.
And then you shut up and you come to meetups and don't tell anyone if you already figured it out. And you're like, oh yeah, I know.
Interesting.
I saw my heartbeat showed me that this model sucked at this time, so I'm not surprised.
Well, that's really interesting, because it makes me think of something that seems it's a little bit loosely connected, but I think you could easily draw a strong connection. So this week, I'm not sure if it was just said right now, Boris did that talk at Y Combinator. I don't know if anyone saw it. Who saw it? Raise your Just you? Saw pieces of it. He said some crazy shit. You know, one of them, I think the craziest thing to me was that Opus 5, they cannot prompt inject it, and that so one of the things he said was like, we just cannot prompt inject Opus 5, and then he alluded to this thing called Crystal, which is this, I guess, some system that is inspecting Claude, almost as if, you know, like it can inspect Claude's brain. It's this mechanistic interpretability system that they have, and the results from that system basically somehow, I guess, got cooked in to Opus 5. Point is that they can't prompt inject Opus 5, and then it's really, really, really good. And so that makes me, that's crazy to hear, because he also said this was like a step function change in terms of, is this prompt injectable or not? And like that's a new model capability, right? So I you know, when you talk about like a Discord channel and stuff, I'm like, that's like one of those things that
Yeah, it makes me think neck interpretability is probably going to be like a month from now, like how loops were the thing last month. You know, it just keeps evolving what people, the hive mind is focused on. I think this is 1 or 2 months from now.
I wonder to what extent this thing fits into this overall system, because you have talking about 5-hour window swings where you get different results. Well, is your compute getting routed somewhere based on Crystal's mechanistic, like it just determined that you go here. Like it determines that for you. I'm just.
How many data sets? I mean, I don't know. We like thought about how many data sets do they have. They got like they rent from Elon, right? The big one, and then they've got however many.
Can you speak to that? Why you said they read from Elon?
I mean, Claude's renting a lot of their GPUs.
Oh, yes, yeah.
They have all of Colossus 1, half of Colossus 2. They have AWS.
They get a lot from Google too, don't they?
Yeah, some from Google, some from AWS, and maybe even now some from Meta.
Yeah, Meta.
So maybe I just didn't bring it. And obviously at some point they want a cost.
Well, this was the whole thing about Fable, right? The reason that they were talking about moving it back under the API originally was because they had Colossus 1 fully rolled out, but they didn't have Colossus 2 integrated yet, and they were worried that so many people would use Fable, and Fable uses so much compute that it would bog everyone else down. Again, like if you look at their numbers, it's like 7% of people actually use their full data set, but it's enough to push it over the edge. So their whole idea was that if they get Colossus 2 online and your usage isn't too high, it would stay on subscription. And if it didn't, it would. I don't know if Colossus 2 is officially online yet. I think they kept it on subscription because they're scared of the open models and ChatGPT's pricing. But that was the whole point of it. It was a whole compute constraint issue. And they're the first ones. They've already signed the contract with Elon to be the first satellite-driven ones so all the space GPUs that are, I think, 14 months out.
Yeah, interesting stuff. By the way, do you want to start setting up now? I'll do one topic and then we can do your.
You just need to connect to the display, or.
Yeah. Do you get ready to go right now?
I think it's ready. Yeah.
Okay. I just give you this and you're good to go.
Yep.
So we'll stop for one moment on the news. We're going to do a community presentation, and then we'll come back to the news and so on. So here, this might actually reach you. It might actually reach you way over there. This won't go on the live stream. That's fine.
Do you see clearly? Can you see what's going on? Yeah. All right. It's screwed my display over here, so now I have to figure out what's going on. All right. Okay. So I'm Omer, and I'm going to do a little demo of Docker Sandbox. And before I start, I sent a little GitHub repo in the WhatsApp group. If you want to follow along, if you want to
account, so we can save some time. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually